Hello, Tendent Podcast audience, listeners, viewers, partial listeners. Hey, if you're here, we're glad to have you. Mike McCarthy here with Matt Petchel. We are proud to have as our guest today, Mr. Eric Payne. On his business card, it says Chief Troublemaker. He is the founder of the company Tekagogo. Eric, glad to have you.
Welcome.
Appreciate you. Thank you, guys. That was a
welcome.
really good introduction. I feel like I want to just start a road show and just drag you along with me and have you introduce me no matter what I'm doing. Just, picking up my kids at school. I want you to be the guy that comes along and throws the anchor out there as I grab my kids.
There's that website or that app Cameo or whatever it is where, famous people can do wish you happy birthday. Maybe there's a business here where Mike does you call him up when you're feeling sad and he just sort of pumps you up 30 seconds. He gives you his,
I am down.
I might be in his positive vibes, we're going to call it. And
I feel like it would be perfect for you because you do know everybody in the dental landscape. I think you literally know everybody in the dental space.
He does.
Yeah. For the audience at large, several years ago, I heard about this company, Tekagogo, and I was like, whoa, what a name. What the heck? This is just disrupting in dentistry alone. And then when I found out what you were up to, this is the next best thing. For our audience that doesn't know, could you tell us about Tekagogo and how the heck did you get started?
Yep. So I spent 20 years with Henry Schein selling cotton rolls and slanging goop and goo. And one of the challenges I was ran up against was support and service. And it wasn't because we were bad at service. We're great at service. Logistics is just tough. And then you put on top of that timing, we got 8 to 4, 9 to 5, and a finite amount of techs. You're really having a tough time on Monday morning when you flip that switch because you're already at maximum bandwidth. The techs are already jammed up. Logistics are tough. Compressors are dying. And there's only so much you can do and with the limited number of technicians and times. The on-demand economy is here to stay. It's in every aspect of our lives. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to connect you, the doctor, directly to you, the technician, in that on-demand sort of world. I mean, it's not really just for food and rides anymore. It was kind of the mantra, if you will. And a couple of years later, I built a piece of software that said, all right, doc, when you have a problem, you're going to go to tekagogo.com, and technician, when you want a job, you're just going to open up your app and accept that job. So it's kind of how it got started. And it was really just a pain point.
What was do you remember when you first had the idea? Did you sit on the idea for 10 years or did you sit on the idea for 10 minutes before you went, all right, I'm done slinging goo and selling cotton. That's ready to go.
Right. Yeah. It was funny. We were actually looking, we were in Tahoe, which is my favorite place on the planet. And a buddy of mine and I it's a really cool bar that we love to go to for the locals. And we were trying to figure out how we could, offload the kids. And I'm like, God, what if we had Uber for nannies? How amazing would that be? Wouldn't that be the coolest thing? Like background check, vetted, just hit a couple buttons and somebody shows up who's amazing and watches your kids. And it would literally hit me a few minutes after that. I'm like, what about Uber for service? I don't know why they were connected, but nonetheless they were. And that's kind of how it started. And I, socialized it amongst some of my dental friends. And they were like, I think you might have something here. And
what's been the biggest surprise on the journey? When you started?
The loyalty that offices have to a single distribution partner is mind-blowing. All the distributors, I mean, they're all fantastic, but the loyalty where it's like, no, you can get someone there today. It's like, no, I use Billy from XYZ distributor, and that's the only one. I'm like, but your compressor is down. That drifting x-ray in Op2 where Sarah's still holding it because you don't want to get those cone cuts and Mark's outside pushing the button and you're okay with that. No, yeah, we're going to wait for 4 days. That has been just an unbelievable impasse that I never anticipated. I was like, you want someone now, right? Yeah, but it's got to be Billy. I'm like, well, you can't have it both ways, So yeah, that's been the biggest challenge.
We know in this industry, because we've all been in it so long, we know more than most, it's a slow to change, slow to adopt industry. So your answer surprised me in some ways, but then didn't. We kind of all do this. We get stuck in a rut and we kind of we sort of creatures of habit. And I think there's, and that's maybe generational, right? I'm guessing a younger dentist probably isn't as, tied to a tech experience and or as many calls and all that. But
I think for me, the biggest surprise is it really is that loyalty factor, not only just to the tech, but also to the distributor. I mean, when when COVID hit, really, it was like turn that shotgun blast into like a 300-yard shotgun blast. Everything was spread out. Doctors were like, I can order from all these different suppliers, and loyalty just kind of eroded after COVID. And people were just like, doctors were just like, I can go to anybody now. But that service piece was still so near and dear to the heart. That trusted advisor, that service tech in the building, that was Billy, like that never went away. That was still, no, I order from everybody now. But boy, Billy, no chance. He's the only one in the building. He only comes in 4 times a year. But man, oh man, when I shoot him a text or a phone call, he's my guy and he's on my doorstep.
Yeah.
But everything else, the goop and goo, and I get to get that from it. So that's one of the big things I've seen is distributors trying to get that loyalty back. And it's slowly starting to come back. But Billy never lost.
Just last year was in a big pediatric dental office outside of Boston. A piece of equipment went down. A vacuum went down, and it was hooked up, let's say 3 operatories. Those operatories were out for X number of days. And this is a big practice. I'm talking like 12 associates. And the distributor, who shall be nameless, I'm not even really faulting him, but they're like, we can be there in 3 days. And it shut down that part of the practice. It created havoc with scheduling, was tens of thousands of dollars lost revenue, staring that practice owner in the face. And that's when I said, hold on, let me call my buddy, Eric, and see if we've got a stopgap here, because on the cabinet of the office manager's bookshelf was a crinkled Post-it note with some guy's name on it who was 3 hours away.
Billy. It probably said Billy.
Billy. It was probably Billy.
Yeah.
Or William for the...
Yeah. And the safety net procedure just wasn't there. So, I mean, I made the introduction, but tell the audience, if you don't mind, Eric, you have a unique model.
When I started dentistry 20 years ago with Henry Schein, they were 3 DSOs or whatever, 4 DSOs. And they had that leverage over distribution, right? Like, I buy a bunch of goop and goo from you, like a whole bunch of goop and goo, so you need to service me first. Well, that's changed, right? So now they're DSOs. All have the leverage, but you still have that finite amount of service tax and that finite amount of time that you're dealing with and you're up against. Tekagogo software, it's Uber for service, right? So it doesn't know where you buy goop and goo. It doesn't know how much goop and goo you buy. It just knows that you pinged first and you pinged second. Billy's closer to you than he is to the person that called second. And it sends somebody out to the first ping, not the second ping. So it gives the solo practitioner or the 3-some, 5-some doctor with 5 locations the same power that the DSOs have, because the software just doesn't know where you're getting your goop and goo again or how much you buy. For the office-based practitioner or the DSO, if some of them have their regional managers, it's simple. They just go to tekagogo.com, and within a few clicks, they say mechanical room, compressor down, maybe add some pictures and videos, send request. And then much like Uber does between rider and driver, it just pings out from the office. It knows where the office is. It knows where all the technicians are, finds the closest one, dispatches them to the office, and all of this is available real time. Right in the middle of the screen, it says Billy accepted it. He'll be there at 3:08 p.m. because it geolocates. You can chat real time. It just adds that layer of transparency that wasn't there before, through no fault of anyone. I mean, all the distribution models are similar, but the reality of it is a lot of times offices want to be in front of their computers, putting butts in seats, treatment planning, scheduling patients, reappointing patients, filling holes in their schedules. It's tough to be on hold with a distributor or trying to find the crinkled up service tech above the sterilizer and waiting on hold and texting back and forth. You want software to do it, just like we order our food, we order our cars. We want it done quickly, and we're willing to pay a little bit more to have that on-demand transaction.
You know, what I think is fascinating is, well, at the beginning stages of Uber, their issue was filling. You got to fill the pipeline on both sides, right? You got to have drivers out there for when there are people requesting a ride, right? We can push the riders, but then if there's no rider, then if I have to wait 3 hours to get an Uber, it's not a great experience, right? And so how are you, this is, to me, I think is really interesting. How are you filling the pipeline of techs? Because in the world we live in these days, people are kind of, there's not as many kids going into trades. They're trying to go into college. Maybe they're not suited for college, right? We all have kids, and we are you'd realize that kids are all different, and some are meant to be brain surgeons and some are meant to be mechanics, and that's no fault of anybody. How are you kind of solving that, which I think is fascinating?
Yeah. So what we did originally when we first started the company is we went out and got all these independent contractors all over the country, and which worked really well. One of the issues, we didn't really have the control over the independent contractors because, you know, as an independent contractor, you got to kind of leave them at bay,
Right.
which is the same challenge that the Uber model ran into.
Right.
Uber gave free rides. You could get a ride anywhere. What was
Yeah.
interesting with the Uber model, because obviously did a lot of market research on Uber, was that the Uber model riders were really hesitant to get into a stranger's car.
Right.
The irony in that, though, is like when every time you get into a cab, that is a stranger's car. But it was just kind of funny how and that's why they were just giving away free rides. So we went the independent contractor route. And then in short order, we aligned with Henry Schein, one of the largest distributors in the country. We have that national coverage. But that's one way to fill the pipeline. The other way we're filling the pipeline is we've got a couple local high schools here that have an ROP program. It's kind of around the skilled trades, right? The Mike Rose of the world. We know with AI, the skilled trades are about going to be the only thing left. If you're not touching it with your hands, you're probably going to have a difficult time, in 20 years. I don't know this. I'm not a prophet, but I'm just looking at the writing on the wall. It's scary.
The future. In the future,
yeah.
If you can't work with your hands in some way,
right,
you're going to have trouble.
It's going to be scary. I mean, you just look at our dental labs. I mean, yeah, some guys are still stacking porcelain, but boy, with, all these different milling machines out there and whatnot, it's just put a block in, press a button, and you've got a beautiful tooth. So we're working with the local high schools in their summer programs, the ROP programs, and we bring them in. We bring in a couple manufacturers in the dental space. We bring in some service techs. We bring in some dentists, and we teach these kids, and it's an 8-week program. We teach the kids how to get their hands dirty and really apply their skills, like especially the ones that are mechanically inclined, the gearheads like myself, into the dental space. And we say, hey, look, here's an opportunity to work on dental equipment in the dental space. We have a job with us, if you so desire. You have a job with Henry Schein or any of the other distributors out there. So we'd love to get their hands dirty because there are a lot of kids that don't have that college path. We wanted to let them know. In fact, most of my wealthiest friends are gearheads in the trades. They didn't go to schools and graduate schools like I did. The skilled trades is a big deal to me. Growing up as a General Motors family, working on the auto line, my whole family's General Motors. I'm a big skilled trades guy. And so we want to make sure we're giving back and to fill that other pipeline with kiddos that may otherwise not have a college path in mind. We've got an opportunity for them.
It's awesome.
Get their hands dirty.
It's awesome.
How's it working? Like, I feel like we could do a whole podcast on this, and maybe part 2 of ours is going to be just to zero in on this. Really cool.
I think that's a good idea.
I could dig into the skilled trades. I mean, we talked a little bit before we started, Matthew, you and I, about just trucks and fixing cars. And I would love that. We could talk all day long on cars. No,
it's
question.
working though. You're able. These guys, the schools that you're going into, you're reaching kids, you're touching kids, and it's actually, I'm guessing it's resonating with at least a percentage of them where they're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I never thought we probably could go down the line, 3 of us, and go, did you ever think you'd be in the dental industry? And we'd all go, probably not,
No.
But it's a great industry and it's a great career if you want to work your hands, and it's inside. It's
recession proof, guys.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. You can get your hands dirty and there's nothing anybody can really do about it.
Right.
And
awesome.
To be treated like, you're a hero every time you walk into your place of work.
Yeah.
Practices are getting smarter. DSOs are getting smarter. Public health is. People now realize, oh, hey, it's a business and we need to produce, and equipment does fail. Let's do that. Let's definitely do a part 2 on the philanthropic side and talk about the future, because we've thought about this too with dental lab techs. Yeah. It's a dying industry.
Same.
And 3D printing still is not going to replace dental fabrication.
Right.
All right. So we'll table that. But, and I really think the greatness, the idea is one thing. The people to execute is another thing, but the people to run it day to day, your team is the best in the business.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that.
Any show, any city in the country, when we're together, just, what you see is what you get. And thanks for holding true to your brand promise. And I encourage everyone.
And let's do this. Let's do a part 2 where we talk about certainly the trade side of it, which I think is really awesome. But then also the execution part, because Mike's right, ideas are everywhere, right? Everybody's got ideas, but it's the execution that makes it work and makes a business successful. And I think
Absolutely.
we can talk more about that. So let's do this. Let's wrap it here, and then we'll take it to the end, and then we'll have Eric back on part 2 of the podcast. So don't forget to forward, like, subscribe, do all the things that kids do these days to make this podcast number 1 in the world, whatever world.
Oh yeah, that's what we're striving for.
I'll throw this out there to your audience. When your service tech comes into the building and saves the day, don't forget to thank him. Give him an attaboy, give him a high five. Appreciate your service techs, because it's probably one of the most underappreciated pieces of our world on the dental side. So take a few minutes to tell them thank you. Service is incredibly important, and these guys and gals bust their butts to keep our dental offices online. So give them a high five and a thank you.
Gratitude feeds the soul, and that 100%. Is a perfect example of it. So thank you, Eric. We appreciate your time and your expertise. We'll see you next time.
Y'all.
Yep.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. And I'll be back to you probably tomorrow to set up part 2.
Pretty sure I'll get a text in 15 minutes.
All right. Yep. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, brother. Tekagogo, everyone. Check them out.
Don't call us.